Hi everyone, and welcome to Dave's Brick House. I recently attended Bricks Cascade 2023, where I was involved in two things. I was a coordinator for the post-apocalyptic theme, and I participated in a very large Jurassic Park collab that's been going on for 4 years now. For the collab this year, we were transitioning to MILS, and next year will be fully MILS. With my recent exposure to MILS, I figured I'd give a basic overview of what it is and why you might want to use it, along with how we're using it in that collab and some tips I picked up from some of the other collab members. So to start, what is MILS? If you've built with MILS before, you might think it's an acronym for Millions in Lego Spend, but in actuality, it stands for Modular Integrated Landscaping System. The original purpose was to provide a standard for landscaping when having multiple builders contributing to a large collab. Over the years, however, it's become very popular for other uses as well, especially for train layouts. I put links in the description for 2 articles that go into much more detail on the MILS standard. In the Jurassic Park collab, we're using it to provide an easy way to connect multiple mocks to each other. It also provides a stable base for each mock to make them easier to transport, as well as moving them around when we're assembling the collab on site at the convention. So let's take a closer look at what MILS is. To start, I'll point out that this is a very parts-intensive build method, hence the first definition of the acronym I mentioned. But the end results are definitely worth it to many people. So what makes up a MILS module? Very basically, it looks like this. You start with a regular base plate, add a layer of bricks, more details on that in a moment, and then top them with a layer of plates. Now let's talk a bit more about the inner layer of bricks. The first element I'll talk about is a 2x2 area on each corner. To keep track of whose MILS modules belong to who when participating in a large collab with many builders, these corners typically have a unique color code that belongs to a particular builder. You can use 2 1x2 bricks, 3 2x2 plates, 6 1x2 plates, or any other combination that gives you the unique color code you want. These color-coded corner bricks aren't needed when using multiple MILS modules under a large mock, like my Ranger Station for example, but many people just use these on every MILS module they build. Another key component to MILS is the addition of Technic bricks, similar to what you see on Lego modular buildings. You only need 1x4 Technic bricks on each side of the color code corner bricks. The rest of each side can be whatever you have on hand. Regular bricks, Technic bricks, I have a lot of these, so that's what I'm using for my current modules. Masonry bricks, oh the horror, or anything else that'll fit. One nice thing is that since these bricks won't be seen, they can be any color. This is a good way to use up random bricks in your collection that you might not otherwise use. Typically, these are used with Technic pins to secure the MILS modules to each other. While you can do that, it can sometimes be a bit fiddly to get the pins to cooperate when trying to connect them. One of the guys in the JP collab shows me how he does it, and I like it much better. The technique is to put a 1x2 Technic brick with an axle hole behind the Technic brick hole you want to use. Then you put a 1x2 brick behind that and insert a 4L Technic axle. You do the same thing on the neighboring MILS module, and they connect together quite easily. And it seems a bit sturdier to me than when using pins. The rest of the brick layer consists of pieces to support the plates on top. The number and placement will of course vary depending on what size plates you use, more on that in a moment. I'll often use 2x2 bricks in whatever color I have in excess of. In fact, I bought a couple thousand yellow 2x2 bricks a while back exclusively for MILS use. They were used and they were very inexpensive. But you can also use bricks you might have no use for. A good example is these black 1x2 bricks with a clip on the side. I think I got them in a convention goodie bag at one point. I don't use black bricks or bricks with clips very often, but these will make perfectly good support bricks for a MILS module. One other thing I'll mention is that MILS modules are sometimes built with a 1x4 arch in the middle of each side. These can be handy if you plan to run any lighting or power cables under the module, but keep in mind that you'll also need to route the cable around the inner support bricks, which can turn into a bit of a maze when using smaller plates for the top. And speaking of plates, the last portion to discuss is the top plate layer. You can use any size plates you want for these, although the smaller you go, the more support bricks you'll need. Additionally, smaller plates, like 4x4 for example, can be slightly less sturdy than larger ones. Don't ask me how I know this. I built one MILS module using 8x16 plates on top. They make for a very sturdy module, but unfortunately those plates are quite expensive. 4x8 plates seem to be the sweet spot for pricing, and the result using those is quite good. What color you use for the plates depends on what's on top of them. For many of the Jurassic Park MILS modules, they really need to be green, but if they'll be covered with a mock, tiles, or more plates to add some terrain variation, they can be any color, and once again, a good way to use up lots of plates you may have in your collection in colors you don't often use. Another nice benefit of MILS is that it allows you to build below ground level. This is useful for water features like small ponds, or in the case of Jurassic Park, a mud pit. So that's it for my MILS overview. I hope this was helpful to you. While MILS is definitely an expensive endeavor, I became a big fan of it as soon as I built one or two modules. Even just moving my mocks around the house is less precarious once they're on MILS. If you have any questions about MILS, feel free to leave them in the comments. And now, go build something that makes you smile. For me, that'll be more MILS modules.